President Trump will be among more than 130 world leaders expected to attend meetings at the United Nations this week. Tomorrow, the president will deliver his biggest speech of the week when he addresses the General Assembly. He is expected to talk about protecting U.S. sovereignty and the need for other countries to do their part in protecting global stability. British Prime Minister Theresa May will raise important global issues at the UN, like the Iran nuclear deal and the use of chemical weapons by Russia. Britain accuses Russia of poisoning 4 people in Salisbury, England. Only on CBS This Morning, we visited the Prime Minister's office, or I should say official residence, at 10 Downing Street in London for her only interview ahead of the General Assembly. When you talk to President Trump, does he listen?
Yes, we have very good discussions. And these are, I mean, the point of the special relationship between the United Kingdom and the United States, in a sense, is that we can have those frank and open discussions. And when we disagree, we can say to each other we disagree and why we disagree. But at the same time, we cooperate on so much else, which is of crucial importance to us. Clearly, obviously, security and defence being key to that.
Is there an instance in which you think he listened to you and his behaviour changed?
Well, I think that we have a number of conversations about these issues, and I think we've been talking about issues around trade, about the importance of NATO. I think I was the first leader to come after his inauguration. We were able to talk openly about the value of NATO, and he reconfirmed the American commitment to NATO.
When he tells you something, do you trust him?
Of course, I listen to what the American president tells me.
But do you trust him?
Well, yes. I mean, we work together. We have a special relationship. This is 2 people reflecting, as leaders of their 2 countries, at the relationship that those 2 countries have and have built up over a number of years. And as we work together, let me give you a very good example. I spoke to President Trump after the Salisbury attack took place. He said he would expel Russian intelligence officers. He did it.
You also, it was reported, asked him to raise it with Vladimir Putin in Helsinki. He didn't. What did you make of that?
Well, he raised a number of issues were raised in that discussion.
Was it a missed opportunity?
I think Vladimir Putin is in no doubt about the view that we have about what happened on the streets of Salisbury.
Mm-hmm. I just wonder whether it could have been amplified by the American president saying, given the special relationship, which was built around common defense, of course, in Churchill's original speech, whether that could have really sent the message home in a personal meaning.
I think expelling 60 Russian intelligence officers sent the message home pretty clearly.
How high up in the Russian government do you think, you've said the GRU is involved in this poisoning? Does it go all the way up to Vladimir Putin?
We believe that certainly the 2 individuals identified were officers of the GRU, and that the decision to undertake this was taken outside of the GRU and at a senior level.
Could be Putin.
We believe it was taken at a senior level.
Who's responsible for the state of the relationship between the international community and Russia?
Well, it's Russian actions that is leading to the international community's response.
The reason I say that is President Trump said, we're both to blame, when asked that same question.
I think what I am reacting to as a UK Prime Minister, and I think what the international community reacted to, including the United States, after Salisbury, was action that Russia had taken on the streets of the UK.
Has Iran been holding up its end of the bargain of the 2015 deal?
Well, this is the question of that deal, of course, is an area where I do have a difference of opinion with President Trump, because we believe the JCPOA should stay in place, and others involved in putting that deal together believe that it should stay in place. We do agree with the United States that there are other aspects of Iran's behaviour that we need to be dealing with too. So looking at the issue of ballistic missiles, looking at the way in which Iran is acting in the region and to destabilise the region. We need to address those issues too, but we also want to ensure that we have a nuclear deal in place that prevents them for a period of getting a nuclear weapon.
But by your assessment, Iran is keeping up its end of the bargain.
From what we see, we believe that it is doing that.
How can you make progress on something like chemical weapons when deals can be just walked away from, like the JCPOA?
Well, the important thing about the JCPOA, about that nuclear deal, is that it is still in place. Yes, the United States has taken a particular view on how to deal with this issue. But that's a view which we disagree with. We take a different view, but that deal is still in place.
Lots of news there.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll say. She did seem to have a little bit of a hum and a moment when you said, do you trust the president? First, she didn't answer the question. You had to rephrase it in the way she cocked her head. Well, of course I trust him. Did you feel that in that moment?
Yeah, I did. She was working very hard to not say anything critical of the president. And, you know, we'll have this later in the show, but what's amazing is she is in the middle of trying to restructure the entire economy of England. I mean, she's got a huge job on her hands. So it was fascinating.
Important interview. Thank you, John.